What's up? What's up? I'll tell you what's up. Spider Farmer's Supplemental Light Series now at spider-farmer.com. Go check them out, including the Glow R40. Get yourself some supplemental lights, whether it's UVA, UVB. Go check them out. You might not be getting all the spectrum that you need for your plants, but now you can with the Sup series. Go to spider-farmer.com. Use promo code PIGEONS420. You'll save a few dollars off at checkout. You'll get some supplemental lighting, and you will be growing some incredible herb. Use promo code PIGEONS420. spider-farmer.com. Set yourself up right, and you won't be disappointed.
We've got a great story in store for you tonight, gentlemen and ladies. This is one that I feel like gets kind of perpetuated mainly on the benefit of children. And it seems like when it comes to the argument of our plant and its regulation in society, the biggest argument that I hear is that children are gonna get access to it. Children are gonna eat it. Children think it's just regular this, children that. And this comes down to packaging. And I wanna talk more about that in the news.
Canna News. All things culture, science, and health. Your one-stop shop for all things Canna News.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to packaging, there is a lot surrounding the conversation. If you, depending on where you look in the world, you're gonna get a different perspective on what it takes to produce quality or at least proper packaging. And the reason I want to have this conversation is because I feel like there is polar opposites in regards to what we believe should be the answer. And now, are the polar opposites between people like you and I? Or is the polar opposites between people like us and the government? And that's what I kind of want to dive into. If you've ever seen packaging for cannabis in Canada, it's actually quite atrocious. There is so much plastic, it's ridiculous. More than the plastic is the regulations on what it takes to make quality or regulatory approved products. Let's say certified products and packaging. That's the word I'm looking for, not products, packaging. So look at this. If you look at the government website in regards to packaging and labeling for cannabis products, this is a guide, mind you. When you get through just this very small, very brief, very simplistic guide on how to package your products in Canada, you may be left with just a few questions. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because this might be a little bit complicated to some. Almost to the point where it's impossible to keep up with. We're not even done. We're still going. There's an incredible amount of pages to this. And that's the regulatory body of packaging and labeling in Canada. Now, is this the right approach to labeling your products? I don't believe so. So this is actually what products look like in Canada. Sometimes the bag can be white, sometimes it's a different color, but generally speaking, this is what a bag of legal product looks like in Canada. There's a warning, a THC warning up there, followed by the the cannabinoids, and then the warning, the health label right underneath. And that's it. And I think that's the logo of that's the brand logo right there. So that tiny little spot is where you get to brand your product. Now, when you think about packaging, what are the main functions of packaging? What should it do? It should protect the product, right? You'd think naturally, like in the same way I'm enjoying my canned apple juice, it's protected. You know, if it falls over, it's not going to break. Even if it was a glass bottle, they're tough enough, they're not going to break. In a lot of cases, the sunlight in dark cans isn't able to penetrate, so it keeps the product better. Same thing is with our plant. We want the product protected in its packaging. Is it hard packaging? Is it soft packaging? What else? Well, it should maintain freshness. You should be able to keep it in a bag that's not full of holes, maybe zip locked at the top. You want something that's gonna, maybe you take your product home, like this quality bag of Stash Blend, you open it up, but then you seal it, you put it on the table, you don't need to put it in a secondary package. You can continue using it. That's not a bad idea. And then to keep it secure, you should, in my opinion, to keep the products secure, either away from the sunlight, like I mentioned, or children. Keep it out away of kids. It's not that there should be a Fort Knox method of getting into it, but you should be able to keep it away from the children and at least away from the environment, so your cat, the hair doesn't get into it, that kind of thing. But that's not what the focus is when it comes to producing packaging in Canada. The reality is that they're trying to make the package almost impossible to get into. Did you know that for every 3.5 grams of product, there's 70 grams of plastic? Can you zoom into that a bit? That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. To me, there's an issue there. And not to mention, if I may, in Canada, we have outlawed single-use plastic. So here we are using single-use plastic to protect our products. Now, I don't want to get into a whole conversation of just Canada. I just wanted to look at the approach in which we've taken to package our legal product. If you look at places like the States, and thank you for this, this is kind of just some different products that are available, different twist-off lids, different packages that are difficult to get into. It's very tough to access almost all of these. I struggle on every single one. For the sake of my OCD, babe, can you pull the bottom right corner of this? There is a multitude of packaging. And, the reality is that it's hard to get into and it's wasteful, very wasteful. So that's one way. If you look at the States, things are a little bit looser that way. Now, there isn't any federal regulation, obviously, and would there be or will there be? Probably not in the next election anyways. You see things a little loose, okay? Or you see, not loose, but let's say a little less restrictive. You see brand placement. You see branding. You see colors, it's very attractive. Don't be mistaken, a lot of these bags are still difficult to get into. I don't know who makes these friggin' things, but they're actually still difficult to get into. They have like the same tops and the same lids. In fact, we've even shown on the show the disc, the homie that had the disc. Yeah, blow that one up. Yeah. This one. This is what looks like a Grand Theft Auto case, but it's not. It's not. This is legitimately a bag of weed, guys. Like, that is epic. In my opinion, as it always is, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I believe the branding should be larger than the warning, if there's gonna be a warning. And the reality is that you've got two completely polar opposites in regards to how the product is being packaged. Now you might be asking, you might be asking, the government's trying to tell you, at least my government is like, it's the children aren't getting into it. They're not getting into legal product because it's difficult. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all, because I've got an article here from 2022, well into legalization, that says children are still getting into weed. More kids hospitalized to cannabis poisonings after edibles legalized. And let me tell you, since edibles have been legalized, and I'm not playing down the fact that children are getting sick, I'm playing the fact that even in Fort Knox packaging, children are still getting access to it. So you might be saying that's because the lid was left off, or that was because it was left in the accessibility of children. But that just goes to show that even the best packaging can't put the lid back on itself and put itself back in the cupboard high enough out of reach of children. So there's a bit of a disconnect. So what is the happy medium of quality packaging? In my opinion, there isn't a happy medium. I agree that I believe that branding should be allowed to happen. In the same way that you can put your branding all over an apple can juice, or you can put your branding on a car, or you can put your branding on anything. You should be able to brand a product just like this. A good friend of mine, Adam Mill, he posted a tweet that said, the branding isn't, now this is not the tweet, but the branding isn't for children. The branding is for us. A lot of these slogans and things are 90s, 2000s appeal. Like Captain Crunch, come on. Fruity Pebbles, like, come on. This is all stuff that I grew up with as a child. But I pass the question off to you. What do you think appropriate packaging looks like? Is there a happy medium between over the top or under the top, under the bottom? Or is there a happy medium? I kind of have one stance that goes with this. And the reality is that You should teach your children to stay away from fucking weed. I think it's that simple. Let's educate our children instead of trying to create a barrier around things that they can't have. When I was a kid, I remember this. You remember this?
Why do you think your mommy or daddy are always telling you, don't put that in your mouth? Let's find out.
Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you stuff it in your face. Don't stuff it in your face. Though it might look good to eat. Though it might look good to eat. And it might look good to taste. It might look good to taste. You could get sick. Ick. Real quick. Ick. Real sick. Real ick. Don't you put it in your mouth till you ask someone you love. That's right, sis. If it's okay to eat. If it's okay to eat. Like a muffin or a beet.
Like a muffin or a beach.
If you don't know just what it is, remember, boys and girls, don't put it in your mouth.
Don't put it in.
Always ask someone you love before you put anything in your mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth. Maybe that was just a Canadian thing. However, back when I was a kid, either your parents tossed you out on the street, and you just put it in your mouth and the strongest survived, or they taught you not to do that. Don't do that. If you don't know what it is, don't eat it. Don't smoke it. Don't put it in your mouth. I feel like we are completely avoiding the conversation about parental responsibility. Why are children trying to get access to weed? Sure, they're using that, as Strange Show just mentioned, that very heavily copywritten, trademark infringed package, but why are they getting in there? They should be able to identify that when they open up that Sour Patch, that those aren't Sour Patch in there. Those are nuggets. That doesn't look like any Sour Patch that they've ever had. So if they're gonna open a Sour Patch container, I'm assuming they know what a Sour Patch looks like, or at least have been there before. And regardless if they haven't, why is that inaccessible? Why is that accessible to a child? This is not the child's fault. This is not the weed's fault, and this is not the packaging's fault. This is an awareness to the parents and to people who are consuming that if you have children around, there is a level of responsibility that you must bear that me or your spouse or the government just can't save you from. And I think that's really where we should lie. If I'm right, if I'm not, I'm gonna hear from you, and I would love to hear from you, because that's the story and that's my opinion. And if you would like to reach out, because I might miss your comments here. Hit me up at Twitter or X at Pigeons420. Okay, you can do that. You can check out my Grows Too over on Instagram, or you can check out my new computer too. We got a brand new computer, which has kind of been pretty awesome. How's it working over there, Mrs. P?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
I love it.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear.
Hi, I'm Pigeons420. Will you be an angel for an abused plant? Every day, innocent plants are abused, beaten, and neglected, and they're calling for your help. Please visit stashblend.com today and join the nation in helping abused plants get an 8-ounce bag of Stash Blend. That's just $27.70 or 96 cents per day. You'll be helping rescue plants from their abusers and provide nutrition, beneficial bacteria, mycorrhizae, and love. You'll help rescue plants from their abusers. Call or join now, and you'll receive a welcome kit of a photo of a dude impacted by your decision. Order now and change a life.